back home from the Tri-State Corrado Meet and Cruise. Shout out to Matt Stoner and also on my hat here, Corrado Matt, that's what he is on YouTube. But shout out to him for putting that event on. It was a really great time. There were a bunch of cars there. I know there were, I'm not sure the exact number, but I know there were over 20 Corrados at the show. So it was really cool to be able to go cruise around, go see those cars, and just see a meetup that was just for those cars. It was really cool. So shout out to Matt for putting that on. Really great show and really great time. Now, obviously, we took the white car there and back. This thing did good there and back, but my last 24 hours have been far from uneventful. So, to put this into the simplest terms for you, this is an oil pan from a 1.8 turbo, and that right there is not supposed to be there. Yeah, I smashed the oil pan on the Corrado at 11 last night, driving home from work. I was going down Route 422, and I smacked a kind of bump in the road, and I didn't know it that I hit it that hard, broke it, proceeded to drive the car until, because this car is not equipped with a functioning oil light, it does have an oil pressure gauge, but it doesn't have any warning for when it goes low. So I kept driving until I noticed that it started making some odd noises, and then I happened to look down at the oil pressure gauge, and that thing said 0. So we lost all the oil out of the motor, and we're driving it with no oil in it. And I was relatively distraught about this because obviously this car was supposed to go to this show today, and well, I thought I just blew the car up. So basically, either way, called up my dad, and he came with the rollback, put the car on the rollback, towed it back home, and I went ahead and got to pulling the oil pan off. I had another oil pan around, so went ahead, pulled the oil pan off, put another one on, and by the grace of God, this thing came back to life. I don't know how, but we drove it today. It was driven, has been driven probably an hour and a half in total since we put the oil, since I put the replacement oil pan on after smashing it, and the car is still running and the oil pressure was staying good. We saw about, at hot idle, we were seeing around 30 PSI of oil pressure, which is good at idle. And then as we were driving, we were seeing 70, 60 PSI, which is very good for one of these. So that's what we wanted to see. So the thing held up and it worked out. So I guess the 118 never loses, and this is yet another case that somehow this thing is very resilient and it survived a pretty significant hit. So I'm really glad that this motor that is for another project didn't end up going into this vehicle, because that was the direction I saw this whole situation going, because the noises this car made were not very good. But fortunately, I must have caught it early enough. It was still leaking when I stopped, so there must have been just enough oil in it yet that there was some lubrication yet, and it didn't fully cook it. But another minute of runtime, and I think this would have been a completely different story. Now, I didn't even get a chance to clean this off, but the back of the car is absolutely covered in oil from it rolling down the underneath, and I'll put a picture in here of what it looked like underneath the car, but the thing is absolutely covered in oil, but it is what it is. We still made it to the show, and that was all that mattered. I was really happy that it came back and we were able to get it to work. Now, mind you, this happened at around 11 o'clock at night last night, so this meant that the car, till I got it back home, it was 11:30, and then until I got the oil pan on, test drove the car, and had everything back together, it was after 1:30 in the morning that I had this car back together. So this was quite an eventful 24 hours for me, to say the least. But either way, it made it there and back. The car's doing great, didn't make any noises, hadn't made any noises, so evidently it's okay. I'm not really that worried about it at this point. I was very worried about it, but everything checks out. It sounds good. Oil pressure's fine. And everything looks good. Either way, hope you guys enjoyed the video and enjoyed seeing all the Corrados that we were able to film. It was great seeing everyone today at the event. It was cool to see all those cars and see all the people that own the cars. A lot of people, sometimes you talk to people on the internet or social media or whatever, and you don't actually get to meet them in person. So it's nice to put names to faces and be able to hang out. So again, shout out to Matt for putting the event on. Definitely a great time. And if you have a Corrado and you didn't come this time, I would highly recommend you go next year. So either way, that's going to be a wrap on this video. I hope you guys enjoyed, and I hope that, you found it cool to see a bunch of Corrados all in one place. But appreciate y'all for watching. Hope you enjoyed, and stay tuned for the next one. Peace.